spot here in the north of Europe is Denmark. And Denmark is a very small country. We have about 6 million people living in Denmark. We do have 98 municipalities and 5 regions. And the regions mostly do things about healthcare. The municipalities do early childhood education. We are maybe a little country, but we do have a long tradition for taking care of the children to be sure that both the mothers and fathers can come out to work to take part of that. We represent 2 different municipalities. This is Ikast-Brande, which is a small municipality with about 43,000 inhabitants. And I'm from the city of Aalborg in the northern of Jutland, which is the 3rd largest municipality in Denmark with about 240 inhabitants. So it varies, the municipalities. Yes, and another week. And this is me. I used to be a manager, CEO for daycare in Ikast-Brande, but about two months ago, I got a new job and moved to Aalborg. But luckily, Aalborg municipality think it was great that I toured Canada as well, so I'm very grateful for that. And we are too. I do a lot of things on the national board as well, and then there is my education. But when we are finished, feel free to contact me if you ever come to Denmark, or if there's things that you sort of came to talk about and think about. Just send me an email. Yeah, and then there's Mia. Yes, on the next.
Yeah. I'm a chief consultant, and I have 17 years, as Monica said, experience working for the Danish daycare system. I work also with implementation. And I have a candidate in policy and administration, and some diploma models and pedagogy. Yeah. And I will also say, feel free to contact me anytime, and you're so welcome to visit us. And if you come to Denmark, please let us know.
Right. And another big. The ECEC in Denmark has 2 purposes. You can see it serves as a social service for parents, as we were talking about, and it's also an educational and social institution with the purpose to promote welfare, development, and learning for all children, no matter their family background. All children are guaranteed an access to an ECE facility from the age of 6 months. When parents they write them up, we do have a digital system where they write them up, and when they've written them up, we have 3 months to find them a space. But mostly we're able to give them a space just a week after or 2 days after. Almost all children are in full-time daycare in Denmark. So it's not like we've got a lot of kids running around in the streets at home during the week. They're all in kindergartens or nursery. You can see that's in percentage. 9.3 of children in the age of 1 to 2, and 95.8 of children in the age of 3 to 4. So that's a lot. And another thing.
Yeah, a little bit about the.
Would you press the?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. The legal and organizational framework of the ECEC. The legal framework is the Act on ECEC. It's a framework legislation, meaning that the state has the overall responsibility, and the municipalities are responsible for the local organization of ECEC within the framework of the law. The Act on ECEC elaborates the purpose of ECEC. It promotes well-being, development, and learning. It promotes families with flexibility and options. For example, is the public family childminders open at 48 hours a week. And the nurseries and kindergartens is open between 50 and 53 hours a week. Yeah. And it supports children with low socioeconomic status backgrounds, and it creates coherence and continuity between facilities. For example, between home and daycare, and between daycare and school. Yeah.
As you can see, there's different kinds of daycares. There's public family childminding, which is at home. Of course, it says that, nurseries, kindergartens, and 8 integrated facilities. And then there's the private daycare facilities, and then the independent daycare facilities run by independent organization. But I think the difference for these, because I think you know this, but the difference is that although you're a private organization, you can't earn money, and a lot of money. The law says how it's going to be founded. And we pay for a private organization, the municipality pay an average, which is the same as they get in municipality for as a support and financial support for them. And then I was said during the last 10 years in Denmark, we actually succeeded to make the early childhood education high politics. And I'll tell you a bit more about that later, but like you are now, really sort of that they know high up that it's very important. I think we've succeeded that as well. And I think some of the people that we can really be grateful about is, for our sake, Brenda Taggart, the British researcher who's done a lot of research in early childhood education. And we've been most inspired of her to work with daycare with high quality.
There's a question.
Yeah, I'm happy to hold it till the end. Or
okay, I think yeah.
Yeah,
and yeah. There you can see that nearly 77, more than 70% is in the public daycare facilities. So we do have a lot of children, although we always in the independent and the private, which is in the municipality, we do have a responsibility to make inspections. So we work with them as well, but they're not a part of our developing. Yeah, and another one. Yes, and that's why I could say to you that we got high politics, because we got money as well, like you are here in Canada. They have adopted a law on minimal child staff, which has to be implemented from January the 1st of 2024. It means that when you're from in nurseries and kindergarten and an integrated institution, you have to have 1 staff for 3 children from not until 2 years, and 1 staff from 6 children from 3 to 6 years. And it's not easy. It's to start with, it's quite hard to get staff. Some of, especially the big cities like Copenhagen and Aarhus, are really struggling to get educated pedagogues, which we know is very useful for giving a high quality. They're needed for that. And the other thing is that there is not money enough in so it's going to be really hard, but we don't know what the government's going to do with us if we can't do this. So that really is a funny thing to see, but it really means a lot. That's a national government who's making that decision, and the municipalities have to be sure that it's done, and we're working really strong on that. Yes.
Sorry, can I just, for context, so it's moving to 1 to 3, what was it before? I just don't know what sorry to interrupt, but
that's okay, 1 to 5, 4, 5.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And in the childminders, there's normally 4, but they can't have 5 in some.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. Something about funding and parental fees. In Denmark, the ECEC sector is primarily funded by income taxes and annual block grants to municipalities. And Denmark is among the 5 OECD countries who spend most on ECEC relative to our GDP. And the parental fee are dependent on the operating costs in each municipality, and it can vary across them. It is regulated in the Danish Act on ECEC that the municipalities must pay a minimum of 75% of the operating costs, while the parents pay a maximum of 25%. And it's about 400 to 650 Canadian dollars for full-time ECEC per month. And parents can receive a discount in the fees up to 100%. There's a number of ways. For example, if they have low incomes, if they are single parents, they get discounts, and low sibling discounts. Yeah.
Yes, yeah. So now we're really going to the fun part. I think that's the part that we all love, working with the quality to make sure to make the best solution for every children. That is, and in Denmark we have a national curriculum. It is every municipality has to do that as well. The private daycares, the independent daycares, everybody, the childminders, everybody has to be working out from this frame. Yeah, and you can, if you take that, I'll say a little bit more about these. This is what we call the flower, and we in Denmark we work based on a Scandinavian daycare tradition, where being a child is valuable in itself. Children should not only be prepared for school and adult life, they should also be supported and appreciated in the first years of their life. And that's really sort of deep in our heart that we mean that. Heidi and Lars are going to say a lot more about that, but it's very important. In this, the flower, there is like 6 learning things about culture, aesthetics, and community, personal development, social development, communication, and so on. And you have to describe every program have to describe how are they working with this, and how are they putting in the formation and child perspective, the view of the child, the cohesion, the vulnerable children. How do we work with that? I know in Canada, or we've heard it these last days, that there is a lot of focus about inclusion, about having all the children is in a district available to kindergarten. And we know that for sure through research that children that stays in the area in the kindergarten, although they have special needs, just get a better life. And that is the same in Denmark. We are very aware of that. We also the parents are very, very strong partners in the kindergartens. And we were aware that it's the parents' children, it's not us. And so we really cooperate with them. Yes, and I think that's it. The next. We, in the municipality, we have to do inspections and supervision for the daycare. That is a law. And it's a new law because about I think about 5-6 years ago, we had the television company making secret recordings in a daycare, and it was not nice. Then obviously the government said that's not good enough, and we agreed. And so we now have to do inspection every year in the kindergarten. And 1 year you can tell them that we're coming and we do observations and like that. And 1 year you just have to come whenever. Yeah. but the national board do help us about, or we can make them help us, if we wanna have help about developing how to make the inspections and how to make the processes in the pedagogical time. Yeah. And the next?
Yeah, it's about the staff, the educational level. We have ECEC teachers in Denmark called a pedagog, and they hold a bachelor's degree in social education. Then there's educated ECEC teacher assistants, pedagogical assistants or a PA, and they have vocational education. The length of this education depends on prior skills and education, and it varies between 1 year to 2.5 years. Yeah, and then there's the non-educated assistants.
Sorry.
We take it so.
It's you, Mark.
Yes. Yeah, would you turn the next one? A little bit about the Bachelor in Social Education. The purpose of the education is that the student acquires relevant professional competences, knowledge and skills to be able to manage, develop, and I can see what's there. Yeah, and learning and care assignment in a social perspective, both independently and in collaboration with others. And the training period for a pedagogue is 3.5 years, which consists roughly of 2.5 years of classroom-based education and one internship of 3 months. And there's 2 long internship periods of 6 months each. Yeah. The program consists of 2 parts, a common part on basic professional competences and a specialization part.
Yeah, and the specialization can be daycare or schools or children with special needs.
Yeah. And the specialization part contains specialization course, 3 practicum periods, and a BA project. And the students acquire competences to participate in and lead developmental processes during the education. Yep. A little about the finances. The education costs are covered by the state, and the program is free for the student. The students are themselves responsible for acquiring the relevant educational material, but the program gives the student right to receive Danish education support, and it's about 1,200 Canadian dollars per month, according to the applicable rules. Yeah, and the students receive salary for the program's 2 final practical training periods. And that, I didn't say that there is a very strong relationship and collaboration between the university college and the municipalities, especially about the training periods.
And you see, every education in Denmark is free. So I was just talking with some of my friends who've been living abroad for many years, and he told me that we've got high taxes, but if you sort of pull it all together, where he has to pay health insurance and for his children's schools and for education as well, then it's absolutely the same. But here there's a lot of equality everybody can get an education if they want to. It's not the money. And you can actually, for the amount of money, you can live and get something to eat. But most do have a student job between. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, we do have 7 university colleges in Denmark, and 6 of them is is the program to be a social worker available. But it's not only that, we do have like, I think every university college have about 5 to 7 other departments where they can get the education as well. Because the politicians in Denmark are very into that the education has to be nearby. So that they don't all the young people travel to the big cities, but stay in the countryside. Oh, so that's really something that's been very discussed for the last year, and that's why there's come more places where the education is. Each university college, they get an inspection, an external quality inspection every 4th year. So to be sure that they keep the program and that. Just now, there's a big discussion about they have to do a new education for social workers, but because it's not good enough, and we are very hard at recruiting people to get to do the study. Yeah.
I think it was the last.
Yeah, that's the last slide.